Welcome on this YouTube channel. So this is tutorial number 14 of our training concerning C programming language. So remember that you are under control structure, and under control structure, these are a different type of control structure I've mentioned the last time. So we are under decision or selection or choice control structure. In the previous video, we did the if condition. After we did the if-else condition, and after we did the multiple if-else condition. Good. So today we are now moving to the switch case. The switch. So how you manipulating switch? Very important. So the switch statement. Now, what is the use of this switch statement? The first thing is the switch statement is used to test multiple conditions. So the switch statement is similar to the multiple if-else condition. Now, generally, when we talk about similarity, it simply means at least at a particular point there must be a difference between the two, like when to use this and when to use that. Okay, so the first thing I want you to note is all what can be done using the switch statement can be done so using the multiple if-else statement. So this is the first thing. Good. Now, but all what you can be doing using the multiple if-else, you cannot do it using the switch statement. So the switch statement is only for a particular case, and the case where we are using switch statement is when we are comparing equality of values. Never forget this. Switch case, we are using this when we are comparing what? Equalities of values. Whereas with the multiple if-else statement, here you can use it when you are comparing equalities of value, when you are comparing if a value is greater than or equal to, or maybe greater than or less than or equal to. So you are seeing here you have different comparison that you can be doing using what? Using the multiple if-else statement. Whereas with the switch case, the only comparison here is what? Is equality. So by the time you have this in mind, perfect, good. The rest, similarity just at the level that they are used to test multiple conditions. That's the similarity there. But the difference is at this level. Good. Now the next thing also is switch case is easier to use compared to multiple if-else statement. That's why generally we will be using the switch case. So everything depends on what you are doing. So at least when you know the difference between them, before doing something, you will think twice. Like, don't be having something where you are doing, I don't know, you want to compare if something is greater than something and you are going to use a switch statement. No, it's not going to work. And why is it that the switch statement is only working with equality? So everything is based on the structure of the switch statement. So generally we call it switch case because the structure in fact is like this with the switch and the case. So let me just explain it. Now this is the structure here, syntax. Now here you're going to understand something. The first thing is the syntax here. You must precise the keyword switch like this. You open your bracket. What you have in bracket is your variable. The variable simply means maybe what you are collecting from the user. I don't know. You see, good. You open your brace. Now when you open your brace, inside your brace, make sure that you are going to list all the different cases. The different case is like the different condition. Now how to precise these cases or this condition, let me call it like that. You are going to use the keyword case. Now here you are going to precise the value. Value here simply represent the value you'll be comparing with what is inside the variable. Example, imagine that your variable here is maybe age, which is an integer. Good. So you are seeing that here the user will be filling this variable by giving different ages. You see, good. Maybe the age can be 12, can be 13, can be 14. Now imagine that you want to use this variable to compare if age is equal to a particular age. Good. So the other value that you'll be using for comparison is what we call value here. Good. So the value here represents the value. I'm using value twice, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Good. So the value here is representing what you'll be comparing with what is inside the variable. Good. Meaning what? Don't go and have a variable maybe which is a character, and at the level of value you're having the integer. It's not making sense. It's as if you are saying that you are comparing something inside a variable character with an integer at the level of case. It's not working. So I think I'm clear with the explanation. Now after that, when you just write case, you write the value that you're comparing from your variable. You put 2 dots. So this is the structure. After 2 dots, what follows inside is the set of instructions you have to execute. Then at the end of the set of instructions, you must precise break like this. Good. So what is the use of this break? Break here simply means stop and go out. Now you need to know something. The multiple if-else is having an integrated break. Let me say it like that. Good. Integrated break simply means there we don't need to precise break manually. Break is already there by default. Like when you're testing a condition, if that condition is true, you are going to execute the true statement and automatically it's going to quit from the if statement. Are we there? Good. So it's the same thing here with the switch. Since we are testing multiple conditions, it simply means that by the moment one condition is correct, normally we are not supposed to test the different other cases that exist. Now, since you are not supposed to test the different cases that exist, that is why inside each case at the end of the instruction we add a break. So that if you enter in that case and execute his instruction, the break here simply means don't test the other cases that exist for the switch. Are we there? So that the use of break. So the break must always be present. So just like the multiple if else, or if you want else if condition. So what happened here? What did I say? That as you are testing your different condition, like else if this, else if this, the last if must have what? And else. Good. So here it's the same thing. As you are testing your different case, good. So after the last case, you must have an instruction here called default. So default here simply represent like if all this case is not matching, what are you going to execute? So you execute what's inside the default. Good. And then you close your brace. Now we are going to take a practical example. So there's an example inside my notes here. So let us write the code together. So now this example is very easy. So I want to declare a variable called day, you see, and that variable must be an integer. So what happened is I'm going to ask the user to enter a day, maybe using integers. Like if you enter 1, I'm supposed to display something like Monday. If you enter 3, I'm supposed to display something like Wednesday. So it's exactly that. So we go to our program. Good. So this is the code of the previous tutorial. So I'm just going to delete this one. Okay. Let me just delete the content. So the structure is not having a problem. At least I don't need to repeat myself with the structure. You master it very well by this moment. Okay. So here we are going to declare an integer in, let me call it day. Okay. Now here I need to collect the day from the user. So print f. So here I'm going to say enter the number, enter a number. So remember that what's inside your printf must be clear enough so that when the user is reading that message, he knows exactly what he's supposed to type on the keyboard. Because if your message is not clear, the user can type something else what you're not expecting, you see. And if the user is typing what you're not expecting, the problem now is what is at the level of your variable. If your variable was something like integer, the user is typing maybe, I don't know, a string or a character. So you're saying that your variable cannot store it, and from then on problems start in your code. Good. So here there's some precisely enter a number corresponding to a day in a week. Good. So that at least a normal user knows very well that he's supposed to enter a number between the range 1 and 7, because a week has 7 days. If you go and enter something like 30, it's your problem there. Good. So scan F. But we are going to handle that in fact, because generally when you're writing your program, you must handle all the different situations, because some users are very mad. Good. So please never forget that this programming that we are doing is software development. So this is just like the base of software development. Good. So all this software you're using today, those applications, WhatsApp, Facebook, in fact, they are programs. They are programs. And for you to write that type of program, you must pass through things like this, you see. Because from here, you are getting the knowledge, in fact, of the programming. Good. Now later on, you'll be moving forward with that. So here, it's an integer. So percentage, comma, okay. You put your address symbol. Okay, day. Now, I'm done with the variable collecting the day. So remember, good practice, normally test this code first. So Control S, you execute, you verify. You see, when I'm clicking, I'm already having a mistake. Imagine that you were just writing. Good. So the mistake here is even clear. I'm seeing that in there's a T lacking. Good. So Control S, you execute again. Okay, everything is perfect. I can enter a day. Good. Good. So since this part is done, now how to use your switch case is very easy. The syntax is switch like this. After writing switch, now generally for syntax, you'll be realizing that when you're writing a syntax, the text will come in bold. It's so that I don't know if you are seeing my screen very well, but you'll be seeing that this is bold. If I add maybe E at the end, it's not more a syntax. So you're seeing that the word is not more in bold. Good. So this is just a way to identify, like to know if what you're writing is correct or not. So switch, in bracket, switch takes what? The variable. So here I'm testing with variable, the variable day. So I put day inside. Good. So never forget that. Now after that, you open your brace. Remember that when you open, you close directly. Okay, now inside the brace of the switch, what happened? You are going to enumerate your different cases. Good. So make sure that the structure is in line. Now here I'm going to type with case. Good. Now here it depends. What is your first day? Your first day here is what? It's day 1. So I'm going to compare if day is equals to what? Equals to 1. So that is why I'm putting 1 here. Because sometimes students think that is case 1, case 2, case 3. No. The value, what follows after the case is the value you are trying to compare. Now, it simply means that here I want to compare if day, meaning if the user entered day equals to 1. Good. In that case, what are we doing? I want also display something like printf. Let me just display something like Monday /n. Good. So I'm going to copy this instruction because it's very important to do copy and paste. Or in fact, we are going to do it after. So after displaying your instruction, what happened? Always write your break. Okay. Now the next thing is we go to the second case. The second case here is what? It depends. Case. So what's the next value you want to compare? I want to compare if day is equals to 2. Good. If day is equals to 2, I want to display something like what? Like Tuesday. Good. Then you put what? You put your break. Okay. Now the next is what? Case 3. Now case, I want to compare if day is equals to 3. If day is equals to 3, I want to display what? Wednesday. Good. So I think I will end here. I don't want to do for the whole week. Okay. Wednesday. Okay. Then here you write break. Good. So remember the use of the break. Good. So if you enter here, just break here simply means stop, go out. Now, so here, in fact, just continue with case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6. I think the last case is what? 7 for Sunday. Now, after that case 7, what happened is the last instruction is what? Is default. Good. So this default is like the else. Now, generally, what are you going to write inside default? Default here simply means that none of these cases are correct. Meaning what? Imagine that the user enters something like day equals to 15. So you are seeing that among our different cases, 15 is not existing there. So now, if 15 is not existing, we are supposed to execute what is inside the default. So in this case, what are you going to write inside the default? So you are seeing that by the time you know it, the idea is clear. So inside the default, I'm going to write something like, I don't know, that day not existing. Good. So generally, what you are writing inside the default is just a message talking about what will happen if you are not entering something in between the different cases here. And I'm seeing that here, normally my different cases is what? Normally my different cases represent values from day 1 to day 7 of a week. So it simply means that if you are entering something out of that range, it's no more a day of a week. Good. So your default, just write any message like that. I don't know. But like here, I'm just writing day not existing. Another person will write something like not amongst the day of the week, or in fact just think about a particular message and you write in. There's nothing to cram. So after doing this, now you close your switch case. So remember it's already closed. That's why I'm always saying that open and close directly, so that even if you are forgetting, it's perfect. But now how to verify whether it's closed? Good. You just move at the level of switch up here. You click on that brace to see where it is closing. It's closing down here. So this is a way to be sure that you have closed everything. Perfect. Now if I execute this code, Control S now. If I execute, I think everything is perfect. If I enter something like 1, I'm expecting what? Monday. Good. Very nice. Now if you enter, let me just close and re-execute back. If I enter something like 5, normally in my program 5 is not there. 5 is not among my different cases. My cases end my different cases end at what? At 3. You see, so it means that 5 here is already a default. Nice. We are seeing day not existing. So this is exactly how we use the switch case. Exactly like this. So we are going to work on more example concerning this. So this is just the first tutorial with the switch case. Good. And when I'm saying more tutorial, it simply means what? It's not possible, in fact, to work in computer science without using this switch case. No, we are going to manipulate them all the time, and it's very easy. When you master the structure, everything becomes easy for you. So I think in the next tutorial, before we go to the next part of our lesson, we are going to practice again. Oh, this is my note. I'm preparing notes. Okay, so we are going to take another example of switch case. We are going to take another example, and after the example, now we are going to move to the next part of the tutorial or the next part of the training session under C programming. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a comment, like the video, and make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. Thanks.